I really think that millennials will be homeless in 20 years, and it's not just because of rising rent. Here's the catch. We're doing it to ourselves. So every Monday morning at 7 a.m. I hop onto this Christian men's group call, and it's really about just checking in, being honest. And one of our guys have been opening up to a lot of us, and he is soon to be married, and he's really excited about moving in with his soon to be wife. He's been spending a lot of time with his married friends, and what he sees is nicer cars, bigger houses, more toys, more vacations, and he started saying that he's feeling that what he has isn't enough. So he's been opening up to us about how he feels trapped in comparison lately. And I remember just 4 months ago, I was having coffee with this guy, and he was super excited about moving in with his wife because things are gonna be so much cheaper with rent being split and all. And I remember nodding in agreement with that, and that's when it really hit me that where I live, in Dallas at least, we live in what I call a performance culture. It feels like everyone is just living to make Instagram reels and TikTok posts for likes. Not just showing life, it's performing life. And the worst part is, most people think it's normal. I've made some acquaintances here in Dallas, and I know what they do, I know what they earn, and I see what they post. And my default assumption is, yeah, that's definitely going on the credit card. And debt, it just feels like it's become part of how we live. It's become part of the air that we breathe. Combine that with the YOLO trips and the $18 cocktails, the math ain't mathin'. So I think back to my friend, and I think how quickly it turned from, wow, I get to save money, to I need to keep up. And the thing is, comparison isn't just the theft of joy, it is the forger of debt. And as soon as you feel that, oh man, I need to keep up, and you start seeing your friends leveling up, and you start seeing yourself getting left behind, even if it's fake, that feeling of getting left behind starts getting really expensive. So I've lived in many different cities so far. I lived in Birmingham, Alabama, Washington, DC, now Dallas, Texas. And when it came to DC at least, it wasn't like Dallas. The excess was hidden behind closed doors, politicians and their secretaries. But in Dallas, it's more in your face. So whenever I see an Instagram story or a TikTok post, I think, where is the money for all of these activities coming from? And the more I see, the more I start realizing that in 20 years, all these people are gonna have is just debt. And they aren't just gonna be broke, they're gonna be broke with nothing to show for it. So imagine being 55, still renting. Nothing wrong with that. I think I'll be renting when I'm 55, but still paying your debt back from your 20s and then losing your job in a downturn. This literally happened that a roommate I once had back when I was living in Alabama. Now I'm 35 next year. So in 20 years, this can literally be me. I remember getting back home from work and meeting two of my new roommates, both of which who are 50. They were both divorced. One had a Roadster, which was his only asset. The other, he didn't have any assets at all. They had limited access to their kids, no savings, no assets. And the saddest part is that this isn't just Alabama. This is everywhere. I think we've all been sold a lie, which is to enjoy life now, YOLO. The future is uncertain, but you know what? The future is still going to arrive, and it still wants to get paid back. And then when payment comes due, you're going to be looking at your bill, asking yourself, why did I do this? How am I going to pay this off? I'm not going to be able to pay this off. And I admit I've struggled with focus and discipline myself. One that I'm still struggling with is getting up at 5 a.m. No matter what happens, I usually get up at around 7 a.m. But those few times that I've managed to wake up at 5 a.m., holy crap, the productivity was insane. I start getting things done, making videos, making content like this. And maybe that's why I can say, hey, at least I think I'm focused on the right things. But here's the ugly truth. Most of us never had any focus to lose in the first place. And without focus, I really think that homelessness isn't just possible, it's inevitable. From my 20s to my 27s, I lived without focus. It was chaos. And I think if I kept going like that, kept going the way of reckless partying, I would have 100% been homeless when I enter retirement. And if I can trace it back to one thing, it would be this: not knowing that you can pick your friends and not knowing that you can pick your environment. So when I was 20, I moved across the country from Vancouver, British Columbia to Ontario, Canada for an internship. That was the first time I moved out and started living alone. And I was insecure and I wanted to find acceptance. So the first group of friends from work that I met that accepted me, that welcomed me, I just thought they were my friends. They were my environment. Things back then weren't like now where you can go on YouTube or social media to find your online tribe. That wasn't there back then. Looking back though, I think that in your 20s, in that phase, regardless of what generation you're from, when you're living alone for the first time and you're earning a little bit of money, then the next move really is blowing it on your weekends. Partying, drinking, zero focus. I mean, I think back these days and I'm like, man, that was such a gigantic waste of time. Instead of doing that, I could have been studying, learning, building something, anything. And if I did that, maybe I wouldn't be where I am now, where I am scared for the life of me that AI is going to take my job. And what really shocks me is that many millennials and Gen Zs are living that exact life, that exact cycle right now. Even worse for millennials because we're in our 30s and 40s right now. And we might think that we still have time. But I think that if you don't wake up soon, you'll find out that time has been running away from you since the day you got started, since the day that first beer hit your lips. And while we're talking about focus, I've been really focusing on my skincare app, TFUEL. It's been an inspiration that came across me while I was over in Taiwan. People there just had great skin. And if you want to have better, healthier skin, then you can check out TFUEL on iOS or Android. You could just take a selfie and let TFUEL guide you to better skin. Because you know what they say, first impressions matter in dating, business, or negotiations. And if you're going into any one of those with glowing skin, well, at least you know that you have great first impressions. So I think since I was a kid, the map was simple. You graduate, you get a degree, you get a job, and you work that same job, or maybe switch to other jobs, climb up the corporate ladder, and retire with mojitos on a beach. Failed before, what's gonna happen? What the? That was a picture that was painted. But then, most recently, AI walked in and changed the map without telling us. So I work at an education company as a software engineer. And for the longest time, I think I was safe because whenever things happen in industry, like massive layoffs, what happens is people usually go back to school because they feel that they need to re-upgrade, re-educate to get into another field. So that would mean that schools would be getting paid. And as long as schools got paid, me working at an education firm, that means I got paid. But lately I've been watching the ground shift. That safety net doesn't feel that solid anymore. People aren't going back to school as they used to because they're looking at tuition, they're looking at the prices that they have to pay with these inflated prices, and they're asking the questions why. Like, why go into debt when you can get the same information, better information for free on YouTube? And that's when my company pivoted. We started helping colleges adopt AI, but to help colleges adopt AI, that means that we ourselves need to upskill and learn how to use AI. And then came the memo. AI initiatives across the board. Cursor, Copilot, AI coding assistant tools that we had to adopt and use intelligently. The promise was that it's gonna make your job easier, but in the back of my head, I was thinking, easier for who? Because before AI, we still had expectations. Let's say we have 5 tickets that we needed to finish per month. Now, we're expected to do 10 to 15. So the quotas literally doubled to triple overnight. It's like sprinting down a treadmill that never slows down. And when you see people slowing, falling behind, particularly for the coworkers that I have that are much older, nearing retirement, you also start seeing their names quietly disappearing from the org chart. But here's the thing, that pressure isn't just the scariest part. The scariest part is knowing that you're going to be cornered and there's gonna be nowhere left to run. Like, I literally feel this countdown clock ticking down in the back of my head. Tools like Cursor and Cloud aren't just coding assistants. I've literally seen them build programs, build games for people who don't even know a single line of code. Like, that's my entire job. And people keep saying, don't worry, AI is not here to replace you, it's here to help you. And I'm thinking, yeah, who are trying to kid? Me or you? Like, guys, I am playing out the scenarios in my head right now. What's my backup plan for when AI lays me off? What's my move when they don't need me anymore? Is my move to jump to another tech job? Well, that is just delaying the inevitable. With AI improving that fast, how long will it take for that new company to adopt that new AI, that improved AI, and then lay me off as well? I think that this is the one thing that nobody wants to say out loud. It's not about me being good at my job. It's about whether my job is even going to exist. And I think from a year from now, I won't even be surprised if there's going to be some 996 suicides. If you've never heard of 996, this is a phenomenon in China where the employee will work 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. 6 days a week. It's illegal in most places, but some Chinese companies still push it. It burns you out, it kills your mental health, gives you depression, and push people too much, some people would just want to give up entirely. And I'm starting to see this where I work as well. Like just this week, we had this little retrospective call and people were saying that they were feeling burnt out. They were having a hard time keeping up with all the AI improvements. And the managers acknowledged that, which was a good thing. They were like, we get you, we see you, talk to your manager, but you still have to meet your quotas. So I know it's a pretty paralyzing feeling. Jobs are disappearing faster than they are being replaced. And I have several friends myself who have been unemployed for more than a year. And if you've got kids or a mortgage, you're trapped. You can't just pick up and move somewhere that easily. I mean, for me, I can because I am single. If I get laid off, I could just pack it all up and move to Bali, Indonesia in order to take advantage of lower cost of living. And I got some side projects like YouTube and some other things that earns me a little bit of side income. So you think I'm safe, but here's the twist. I think that for myself, there's a 50-50 chance that I'm going to end up as one of those homeless millennials in 20 years. Why? Because sadly, my side projects don't make enough right now to carry me with my daily expenses. And at the rate that AI is going and improving, the day I lose my main job, I'm gonna be cooked.